All right, we should be live. Hopefully. I think I did it all right.
Hi.
You think I'd know by now, but
No, it's all good.
all right. Welcome to episode, and I looked it up this time so I know, 163. Oh my God.
163.
Yeah, that's a number. Uh,
Also, I should follow you. How rude of me
Yay.
for not having followed before.
Huge. Bringing those all the numbers up today.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, hopefully my show people know about it by now, so I'll just skip to you. You're new to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Ozmourn. I am an organizer in the speedrunning space. I organize different events, and I'm a variety speedrunner myself. I've been here in the scene since 2020 because it was a pandemic hobby of mine that grew into something that's much larger than I could have ever expected. So I'm happy to be here.
Yep. Definitely a lot of people came from the vid. Well, it's funny I said it that way because I came from a vid too, but a video. Um and then there's the COVID. A lot of vids,
Mhm.
people always come from
Yeah,
the vid.
exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, so 6 years now, almost.
Yeah, pretty much. It's honestly wild to think that it's been that much time, but yeah, about 6 years at this point. It was around July of 2020. When I say I would first start getting into it.
Mhm. Well, we can lead or start by how you started. That's good
No,
words.
no, yeah, no, you're good. You're good. For me, it began with Luigi's Mansion 3, which anyone who knows the games that I speedrun is probably just like, why would you ever speedrun that? That's not a game that sounds like something that you speedrun. But it was a lot of fun and like Luigi's Mansion 3 specifically, it was just a run that I dropped because it was too long and I couldn't really keep up with it. It's hard to go in and out of a run that's like 3 hours long, uh, compared to runs that are like an hour or less. Feels like for longer runs you have to like carve time out of your day to do it. Meanwhile, like smaller runs, you can just kind of like do it whenever you have a moment where you have a chance. And so for that reason, I just couldn't keep up with Luigi's Mansion 3 anymore. And it was also around the time when I discovered GDQ. SGDQ 2020 was my first ever GDQ experience that I watched. I think I heard about it through like larger content creator type speedrunners like Small Ant or Point Crow, who of course really took off at the height of the pandemic. And situations like that kind of led me into, GDQ as a whole. And I dropped Luigi's Mansion, and for a while I was just like, I don't think that I'm ever gonna come back to this. I don't think I'm ever gonna like come back to just speed running because it's just like, well, I tried it, maybe it's just not for me. And I didn't really explore the idea that maybe I just stuck with the wrong game. Um, and then I was watching AGDQ 2022. Sorry, no, 2021. Yeah, and it was like right after I had just kind of like gotten off of Luigi's Mansion. And I had stayed up Monday night because I wanted to watch a speed run of Pikmin 2. And right before Pikmin 2 was a game called Light Matter, which is like a first person puzzle platformer indie game that shockingly had like Monday night prime time slot on GDQ that night. And I like in that I don't know what it was about that game, but this guy named Bobby Merm, who is now an interviewer for GDQ, was the one who ran it, and I just really got attached to it. I played the whole game that week. I started speedrunning it. I played it like 3 times, and I started doing runs before that same GDQ was even over. And so I kind of got attached to it. And I could not tell you what it was about it, but it got me into all sorts of like first person speed runs that are like really satisfying to pull off in my mind. Other than that, I would say like the rest is kind of history, because I think that that was like the real um like like moment, like catalyst for what I would say really drove my love for speedrunning and my love for like the community. Just having seen the right run at the right time kind of sparked this sort of desire within me to like keep going and to have this being something that I grew into. But outside of that, I also, of course, do a lot of organizational work in the community. I help out with events and stuff like that. And that itself started when I had first volunteered for No Glitches Allowed 2026, or sorry, or 2020, 2021, I want to say it was. Um, it's either 2021 or like late 2021 or 2022, unsure. I forget the exact date, but essentially, it was one of the first events that I had volunteered for at the time, and they had like accidentally put me on to a role that I did not apply for. And then I just kind of got hooked with it. I spent like the next 2 years of my life like volunteering for every single marathon that I could think of, running for every single marathon that I could think of. It came with its ups and came with its downs. It let me realize, what areas and groups to be hanging around. And generally speaking, it was also, I'd say, a catalyst for what I think is like a large portion of my motivation here in the community, where it's just like the organizational work or like the event work itself is really good. And so those two experiences combined kind of formed the identity that I have now with the speedrunning community. And when I was, first hooked into speedrunning as like a sport, and then first hooked into speedrunning as like an event space. And so those two things are kind of what stick with my head the most.
Gotcha. Well, yep, it's a lot to dive into there. Um, I'll definitely want to poke your brain about a little more in-depth stuff about that because I am
Oh,
very much
please,
into
please do.
the background stuff as well. I don't volunteer or do anything, but I find it interesting. We'll
Oh, please, please
we'll
ask. Ask away.
oh yeah. Well, first to kind of stick on the timeline stuff. You said you started with Luigi's Mansion, but and then you like found GDQ after you were already running it.
Mhm.
So, how did you find
Yeah.
out the speedrun concept? Like what got you to start running Luigi's Mansion in the first place?
It was some time in the pandemic. I forget the exact weekend it was, but I was playing Luigi's Mansion 3 on my Switch, and I like just kept I had like a whole day to myself. And so I just like the first thing that I did in the morning was I, got up, took a shower, ate breakfast, and then I just started speedrunning, or started like running um that, or I should say running, but it's just a casual playthrough.
Mm,
But I was just doing that, and I had played the game before, but sometimes I like to really replay all the games, especially with completionist games like collectathons that really like just satisfying to play through over and over again. And so I played through Luigi's Mansion 3, and it started to get dark outside because I was playing it like all day. But I was just like, wait, I'm about to like go beat the game. Like this is like something that's I'm about to like go do it, and I'll do it all in one sitting, 100% in the game, mind you.
mm,
And so I did. I just stayed up and did it. Um, and then I was just like, wait, I can do that again, but like faster.
mm.
And then I did it again, but faster. And then I slowly and surely like combined with, I think, just my own research on speedrunning, and of course the like social media content creators that had already informed me about speedrunning. It was a really good experience overall, because I was just like, oh, this thing that I do on my own, I can just keep doing it again, but faster and faster this time. Um, and so that kind of got me introduced to like the concept itself.
That's cool. Um, Obviously, the concept's a lot more popular than it might have been, say, 15 years ago. Um, like I know I had no idea what it was until just like random YouTube video, and it's like, oh, cool, let me watch. But it sounds like you kind of like naturally figured it out. I don't know how like much content talked about it and how familiar you were with the concept beforehand, but it sounded like it was just, oh, I can do it again. And then,
Y- Yeah, I would say that that's how it mostly went. I think I had seen a speed run of Super Mario Sunshine at first
mm,
because like and that was way before the pandemic.
right.
It was like at a really old GDQ. I think it was SGDQ 2014 or 2013 or something like that.
Mm,
But the only reason that like I say that is because I then later in my life looked up the run again and I realized it was from a GDQ. When I would first saw that run on my YouTube page, at either like it just came up recommended or I had to search it up. I did not like really pay attention to the fact that it was like a GDQ. I didn't really understand. I don't even think it was on the GDQ page that I saw it. I think it was on like Speed Demos Archives or something like
yeah,
that. And I had found that speedrun and I just thought it was really cool. Like I just thought it was like a like really cool to see, and that it was just a bunch of shapes and colors of someone,
mm,
speed running one of my favorite games of all time, and I kind of like left it there, and then I didn't think about it again for at least like 5 years, and then 2020 passed, and I got into speedrunning kind of a bit more naturally.
I see. It's funny. It makes me think, like, did I ever see anything related to like the concept before I, truly found out about it? Because I can't think of
Mhm.
anything, but like, even like in back like earlier YouTube era, it was still like fairly popular. Like it wasn't like a super wide branching concept that it is now, where I feel like every YouTube video I see,
Mhm.
even if it's completely unrelated, they'll like make a speed run joke, and I'm just like, oh, but
Yeah. But that's like the thing though, where it's we see that, and so like a lot of people, especially people who are like online a lot,
hmm,
have like a general idea of speedrunning, but they don't really know it the way that you and I do, the way that's like in the community. Because if you I realized that like pretty quickly when I got into speedrunning, and I still get a little bit of whiplash from it today when I like am here at my desk and I'm working on events or like I'm just speedrunning and or I'm just talking to my friends because we're all connected in this culture of speedrunning. And then when I go outside or when I
hmm,
talk to my family or when I like go step away from my computer and I try to talk to anyone about speedrunning or about GDQ or about anything, they're just like, "What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean."
hmm.
And so it's weird. I feel like speedrunning is like in this weird purgatory state where it's people clearly know about it as a concept, and you see a lot of people, especially in the gaming spaces and the online spaces, reference it as a concept. But if you try to have any like substantial conversation with someone about it, chances are they won't really get it or won't really understand what you're talking about if they're not embedded into the culture themselves. And even if they do get it, even if they do understand it as a concept, they don't really like understand it to the same emotional level that people in the community do. It's not the same thing as just like gaming in general, where you can like kind of just talking about the concept of video games to most anyone, and they're all going to have at least some experience with it, whether it's like playing mobile games on your phone or the way that you grew up. But when it comes to speedrunning specifically, I have difficulty like, continuing conversations about it beyond like a very service level thing, because of how niche it really is to people who aren't already in the community.
That's fair. Yeah, it's not like a concept I regularly talk about to like IRL around my real life because honestly, there's not a lot there. My family are just familiar with it because they've seen me do it. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I don't really have the experience of just like talking to someone I know, outside the internet and happen to bring it up. I've never really had that interaction. Um, yeah, what I speak for is just noticing because I've been watching YouTube, 15 years. Um, and I don't know if just because I'm more familiar with the concept now, but in all the content I would even consume before it, like 10 years ago, or like
Hmm.
tangentially related, I'll hear it like referenced or brought up, and usually sometimes like it sounds like they kind of know what they're talking about, and I'm always just like, reference. And I don't know.
Exactly.
I've just, from my perspective, it looks like the concept has become more mainstream, and I like noticed it in real time, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more mainstream compared to how it was even before the pandemic, even before everything else, which is wild to think and to really keep in mind because you know I don't want to use GDQ events as like the be all end all metric, right?
Hmm.
But using that as like a reference point for the amount of viewership or the amount of like donations that people would bring out in like the pre-COVID era or even during COVID, where our highest donation total for um, was AGDQ 2022, an event that was online and had a lot of people donating towards because of real life events. But also, if you look at like the viewership trends, like there was a lot of viewership of GDQ before, like pre-COVID, 2018, 2019. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of viewership here, but it's no secret that like um sometimes that viewership dips, or like sometimes niche communities within the gaming space have viewership issues because they're niche and they have the specific communities that they want to cater to. And so if you compare that, where it's weird, where it's just like the numbers might say one thing, but then I feel like just generally speaking, people nowadays know speedrunning more than they ever have. I feel like the amount of speed runners
Hmm.
today are more than there's ever been, and that's just the natural progression of like a community, right? But it is weird to see how like the public, or the general public, or the normies, as people refer to them as sometimes, kind of interact with the speedrunning space, just as viewers, and see how that relationship has kind of changed over the years.
Yeah, it's definitely something I've just noticed and took a mental note of because at one point that was me, right? Um,
Mhm.
as just the casual viewer, not for very long. I got pretty far into it pretty quickly when I found out. For reference, I started in 2017, so I've been around a while. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I don't know. It's just like before speedrunning again, like there are a bunch of specific people I've watched, and only a few of them I've really, I still watch that aren't like speedrunning related, but I'll hear like references that I wouldn't expect or something, or like I don't know. It's funny. Like
Mhm.
the example I give, because it's just really funny, is Tom Scott, right? You
Mhm.
wouldn't think there's any relationship there at all. But there's a photo of him holding the Mario 1 any% world record speedrun time, and they also did like a more like some podcasts where they talked about the Crazy Taxi run. And I'm like, what the
Mhm.
what, how did this happen? What is this connection?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just stuff
yeah.
like that that's you just wouldn't expect, but I guess that's just how mainstream it is. Where like anyone that's just on the internet at this point almost is like at least from like has heard about it. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
because it definitely wasn't like that when I first came in. And when I came in, it was already like getting pretty popular at that point because Summoning Salt was like already a big name and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's just weird seeing that progression. It's cool though.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the content creators that you see: Summoning Salt, your M Sushis, your Point Crows, your Small Ants, all of them, even though they're all like different levels of how popular they are. People like that, who even people who are very like veterans in the speedrunning space, such as um, Andy or Argic, or who else am I thinking of at the moment? Um, like Little Aggie, and people like that who they've been around and are very clearly tried and true speedrunners, but they're huge people, and so being able to kind of spread that speedrunning love definitely helps. And even speedrunners who are like content creators that are similar to like Point Crow or Small Ant, for the longest time I had like this like huge bias against them and the way that they present speedrunning to the world. And I've kind of had this opinion about like people like Easy Speezy, people who focus on speedrunning content, where for the longest time I was just like, these don't feel like speedrunners. These feels like people who, are doing their second playthrough and they put a timer on, or they're primarily, challenge runners who
Hmm.
like, yeah, you can make a challenge run a speed run, but like that's not like the main focus. Like the time isn't necessarily the main focus of what they're doing. And so I see people I saw those people and I had like a weird relationship with them. I remember one time on Smosh, Anthony Padilla had Small Ant and Point Crow on his show. Like I spent a day with speedrunners,
Oh yeah,
and
I've seen
then
that.
the clips that they use to show like Small Ants and Point Crow's like speedrunning experience, the clips that they used weren't even of speedruns; they were of challenge runs, and so that kind of fueled my bias against those people. Where it's just like these people aren't like speedrunners; they're not like you know they're not, they're challenge runners. They're doing something different, but I don't really think that they're representing the speedrunning community in the way that like other people might want it to be. And that's a whole other conversation we can have. But my point in bringing this up is kind of how I had that bias, but then I sit here and I said earlier today, hey, I discovered GDQ because Point Crow was talking about GDQ on his stream. And so as much as part of me wants to sit here and be like, they're not real speedrunners or like they're not representing the community in the way that I want to, it'd be hypocritical of me to say that because of them, people like me entered the space and were able to discover speedrunning. And like, yeah, most of their content is not real speedruns. It's like challenge runs. I get that. But I do think that like there is merit to having those and that they do serve a really good benefit to the community and exposing speedrunning to people, even if most of their stuff is speedrunning adjacent content.
um, I'm actually interested in this topic because so the way I view it is you have your traditional speedruns and then your content speedruns, but they're
Mhm.
both like in the speedrun bubble. Like it's still
Yeah.
speedrunning. Like
Yeah, exactly.
that's the way I've always thought of it because it's good you brought up that the Anthony Padilla interview because I did watch that video, and at one point I think it was Point Crow like specifically like explained the difference between having your traditional and your content and that they were the content people and this is why it's different than the traditional, and I like respected that distinction because it's all speed
Mhm.
running, but there's like there's so many different ways to approach the hobby, and there's no
Mhm.
wrong way to do it either. You can do your adjacent content, your lock in only record grinds, your do a different game every day kind of thing. Like it's all speed running, and trust me, I've been accused of not or finding other ways of speed running as fake, which I do not stand by the way.
Mhm.
Um, I've obviously made that clear over the years, but I have been accused of that before. So I always like to make sure that I explain where I actually view this kind of stuff, so that
No,
misinterpretation doesn't
yeah.
happen again. But yeah, I mean,
Mm,
and I've met all of
yeah,
these
I
people,
totally
and I
getcha.
respect all of these people for what they've done in different ways. But it's cool that even with these different groups, so your content creators, your speedrun
Mhm.
adjacents, your traditionals, you can all come together as one big community as well. There's a ton of overlap between the sub communities, and
Oh,
usually they'll
definitely.
all come together with us specifically and do good. A lot of them are featured on GDQ, or they do their own events that raise money. It's like, it's cool that despite all the different ways it can go. There's some sort of central point we can all fall back on, and that's just speedrunning.
No, yeah, I completely agree, and it definitely does more dividing than uniting, kind of like arguing about the like semantics over it.
Hmm.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, it kind of reminds me of when Fast 50 was first announced,
Mm.
Fast 52 this year, and of course there was a lot of controversy about like I'm not even talking about like the deeper controversy about there being like next to no women involved. I'm not. That's a whole other conversation we
Yeah.
can have. Again, a whole other conversation. The thing that I'm talking about is how a lot of people pointed out just like half of the people on this roster aren't speedrunners. Like they are like going here, and I I'll be real. There's a post probably on my Blue Sky or my Twitter right now that kind of like points that out that I was on that bandwagon,
Mm.
and then combining that with like the opinions that I held about Point Crow and Smalland, there was a very clear time of my life where I thought that those huge content creators are not real speedrunners, right?
Hmm.
But I realized that that's like kind of exclusionary, kind of like
Hmm.
not a good way of bringing about new people into the community. Not really. It's very gatekeepy, very being like you have to do a certain amount, especially if you compare it to like my opinions about other things. Like for example, like I believe that if you just play mobile games, like you're a speedrun, you're a gamer. You're
Yeah. All
like right, like you're
because it's
you're
so easy
you're
to get
you're
into.
60-year-old. Yeah, exactly.
You can
Like
just set up a
your
timer
70
and
year
you're
old
good to
grandmother.
go. It's great.
Exactly.
Join us.
Like exactly. Your 70-year-old grandmother who just plays Candy Crush, like she's a gamer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's and I mean that wholeheartedly. I'm not even
Hmm.
saying that as like a joke because a lot of people like hate on that. And so like I realize, and also when it comes to just art in general, like art, I and the creation of art, I am like a very hardcore extremist of just like, hey, your bed frame is art. Like that you draw a line on a piece of paper, that's art. Like that's all something. And so Trent tends to be very open and very inclusionary, very like not gatekeepy as much as I can in a lot of aspects of my life. But then I realized I was kind of being gatekeepy when it came to speedrunning, implying that people had to like you know
Do
follow
it a
some sort
specific
of
way.
arbitrary
Yeah.
like metric that I was putting out into the world. When in reality, it doesn't matter. If you put on you play a game and you like intentionally try to beat it as fast as possible, you don't even have to have a timer. Like just you're a speedrunner.
Mhm.
Boom, there.
Yeah. And I think this discussion is important because with these events you brought up, and again, one of them is I got flack for something. Obviously that was cleared up, but it's something I notice a lot is, or at least a lot of people online will be like, the community is very gatekeepy for these exact reasons. But I think honestly, if you truly talk to the people that have been around a while and you know express opinions, like you know there are other things to criticize, but I don't think gatekeeping is an issue. The issue some people think it is. I think if you have an honest conversation with most people in the scene, they will agree with what we're saying right now, right? Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I've just seen a lot of people, and these people are probably just like drama heads or whatever on the internet. There are plenty of those saying how gatekeepy we are, but I don't know. I don't see that. Um,
I mean, yeah, I don't see much of it either. I feel like generally speaking, the community has been pretty good on it. And don't get me wrong, there's gonna be bad actors in every
oh
community.
yeah,
There's
of
gonna be
course.
people who spread around those ideas. But generally, you might see like it's kind of the same thing of just like people just always want to attach themselves to drama,
Hmm.
and it reminds me of like the content creators on YouTube who do like speedrunning content, but they only ever like cover like the cheating or the scandals, right? Because that's what gets
Yeah,
views,
that's
that's
a
what gets
whole
people
nother
clicking.
thing I could rant
That's a whole other
about.
thing we can rant about.
Ugh.
But it's worth having good content and having like uplifting content rather than just focusing on all the negatives that happen.
Hmm.
And so in a similar vein, I do think that there are people who are going to be spreading these dramas around, but generally speaking, I think the community is pretty good at doing what they do best.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. yeah, and again, with a community as big as this one, obviously there's going to be some stuff, but I mean, what matters is, I guess, the result of how it's handled or stuff like that. But
No, definitely.
anyway, I think that covers that topic.
I'd say so. Yeah.
back back to other things. So you said SGQ 2020 was the first one, or the first
Mhm.
event you saw, which is cool because that was the first event I was in.
Oh, really? You
So
were in it?
yes, I have a like an emotional attachment to that event specifically because it was like my first. Um, so even though I played really bad and my footage was so insanely choppy because we, the whole online only thing was not fully figured out yet, but
Yeah. Wait, what did you run?
Mario, take it. I know, shocking information,
Ooh.
but yeah, no, yeah, that was there was Mario one and the lost levels were back to back in that event. And
Oh,
I
nice,
got to
nice,
feel
nice.
good because I had the Mario 1 warpless record at the time. So I was like, ooh, look at me. And then I got last place in the race. As you do. But I don't know. It was just so cool to be, I had gone to 3 GDQs by that point. My first one was summer
Hmm.
2018. I went to a awesome 2019 and awesome 2020. I couldn't go to summer 2019, but
Hmm.
summer 2019 is the only event since I started going to GDQs that I've missed. Um, so
Oh,
obviously
really?
online's a little different, but yeah, I mean it was cool. I had been to 3 events by that point, so finally getting in, I don't know. I'll always have that emotional connection to that event specifically. So
Oh,
it
I
was
feel
pretty
the
fun.
same way about when I first started running for GDQ as well.
Yeah,
I feel the exact same way about that run.
yeah. It was such a weird time too with the pandemic and everything, but
Yeah, it's especially weird. I feel like there's a very different mindset that people have nowadays based on whether or not you were in the speedrun community since before COVID or if you got into it because of COVID. Um, it's definitely you can definitely see how that has really shifted the scene a lot.
yes, I mean a lot of internet content really grew around that time, but speedrunning definitely was part of that. I've noticed brought in a lot of
100%.
people. So
100%.
at least some
Definitely.
good came from that.
Yeah, all things considered.
Yeah. Um. So anyway, that led into the next year where you started doing some work yourself in the scene. Sounds
Hmm.
like so. What? Um. You mentioned when it was cool you randomly saw a game on AGDQ you weren't planning on, but it got you into a whole game, like apparently, like really in depth into it.
Yeah, I did.
So that's another cool thing is you can use it to like see games or runs you wouldn't have otherwise seen, and it can actually be an inspiration.
Oh, definitely. I think that's an amazing part about events. And whenever I can get anyone to play a game that I speedrun, know,
Hmm.
that's the goal. That's always the goal when it comes to showing these games off.
Yeah, I mean, and there's plenty of them, which is always nice.
Exactly.
So plenty of
Exactly.
chances to get
It's always
hooked into
fun.
something. Um,
100%.
so obviously that event got you into a game, but what got you specifically into wanting to volunteer?
Volunteer. Well, it was that one mishap that I had with No Good is Allowed, which is wild because I'm the organizer of that event now.
That's
Um,
funny.
and
But what exactly
and
was the mishap?
the mishap was that I applied for just being a chat moderator,
Oh, okay.
but they had accidentally assigned me to setup, and being instead of like standing up for myself and being like, "Hey, no, this isn't what I wanted," I was just like, "I can do it. It's fine." And turns out it was really fun,
Okay.
to a point where I had just the next 2 years, I just ran and ran and volunteered for as many events as I could. Um,
So a
which
lot
is
of
what which
accidents
was a
built
wild
built you,
experience.
huh?
Oh, definitely. It's
Funny.
like my entire existence here in the speedrunning community was here as it was definitely here as like an accident, if I'm being honest. And so, and that's one thing that I think is really great about the speedrunning community, where it's just like stuff like that can really spark an interest in people.
Mhm.
Um, and the next 2 years were good because I again volunteered and ran for as many things as I could, and it was all over the place. Now, granted, there were some downsides in that I burned myself out a lot because I was
Mm,
just doing so much, and also it really let you know. And it's a good and bad thing. This next part, it really lets you know like what communities around the speedrun community are like good to be around, good to talk to. I mean, again, as I said, we mentioned earlier, it's no secret that there's bad actors, bad groups within like every single online community, every single community that exists, and so there's no like secret behind that, and,
yeah.
and and being able to just put my hand in as many pots as I could kind of like let me know where I want to keep myself and where I want to be in this community and where I want to contribute and the people that I want to surround myself with, which is always really nice.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's cool. Obviously, I fell mostly into the GDQ side of things. I haven't branched out too much onto the smaller. Well, I did a little bit, but yeah, I won't get into anything specific. But um, yeah, there's plenty of content out there. So um,
No, definitely.
and a lot of it's good. So
A lot
always,
of it is
yeah,
great, and
always
I,
try to
I
submit or volunteer or do stuff if you want to and are able to, because a lot of people could use the help.
yeah, please do. A lot of places could use that, and on the GDQ end, I had begun volunteering, I think, SGDQ 2022 for social media. That was like the first
Mm,
time that I had. And I've been on the social media volunteer team ever since for every event, which is great. And I started running at HDQ 2022. That was the first time that I submitted, and I like thankfully got in. And I was running anti-chamber. It was like 4 a.m. But first time I kind of just put open availability for a lot of things. And so it was at like 4 a.m. on like a Monday, and it was a lot of fun, and people really loved it. From who was there at the time, and that was still back when GDQ was heading 60 to 70,000 people overnight, which was like wild.
yeah, wow.
And it was just so much fun to see and to be part of. And I've done a few runs since then, and every single time it's just been absolutely amazing. Like just that experience of being on there, being on stage or in the online era, I guess, like in your chair doing a run for people. Regardless, honestly, regardless of it being online or in person, it's still like a good thing to just do. And to show off to folks, see how folks react in chat, see how folks react in the audience. It's a lot of fun.
Mhm. Well, speaking on that topic, then, what games have you ran for GDQ?
Oh,
Mm,
um, I have ran 8 times for
jeez.
GDQ. I've run all different games. I'm making it a personal goal to never submit the same game twice once it
Oh,
gets
okay.
in.
Or
Um,
when you say submit, do you mean you only submit it once, or you only have it get in once?
I only have it get in once,
Okay,
pretty much.
okay. It'd
Yeah,
be a little harder to
uh,
only submit.
yeah, exactly. I only have it. I only show up a game once.
Mhm,
Once it gets in, I never submit it again. Um,
got it.
and so the whether or not that'll change in the future is dependent on how I feel. But at the moment, um, my runs include Antichamber, which is my first one. That was AGDQ 2022. SGDQ 2022 was the first one back in person. But I had it was the first one back in person. But I was online,
Mm.
and I ran a really small indie game called Liminal Ranger, which to this day I still don't know why they took, because it's no joke, a game that like 5 people have heard of. Um,
Those are sometimes the best things, though.
yeah, you're right. You're right. For me, that's why. Um, and then AGDQ 2023 was they went back online for an event
Mhm.
because they had to find a new venue, and I ran Superliminal, which
Mm,
that was the community that I feel like hold the closest to my heart. Um,
that's a sick game, yeah.
it's a really good game. SGDQ 2023, I did not get in. That was the first time that I got rejected, which definitely did a toll on me emotionally at the time because I was just like, did I fall off? Am I not good at speedruns anymore? And then AGDQ 2024 was my first one in person, and I got 2 runs in. I got Skater Gator 3D as a race with Alice and 8-Bit, and then I also got Manifold Garden as a solo run, which is really good. And then SGDQ 2024, I did Gunbrella at like 4 in the morning. Um, and then AGDQ 2025, I did a co-op run of Windblown with a Tea Tree and Zenadier. And then and then at SGDQ 2025, I got rejected again. And then AGDQ 2026, this past one, I ran Jazz Punk as a race with Satan herself, which is great. One of my favorite ones that I've done so far. Um, and then hopefully we see run number 9 at SGDQ this year. So fingers crossed.
Run submissions are now. Ooh.
Submissions are right now.
Ooh.
If you're watching this on YouTube, they close in 2 days.
Shit.
Yeah, they close in like a week from today. It's wild.
Yep.
But I'm currently in the process of grinding. I know a lot of people who submit on the first day, just like they just want to get it out of the way and not think about it. For me, it's like I spend every single second that I have milking and grinding that time down to make sure that it's the most polished and like clean as possible. Like and it sometimes it comes back to bite me, but it'll be 11:58 p.m. and I will be typing in my description and hitting enter. Like I milk every second.
Yep. Well, I can't wait till the last second because PAX. So I better get my stuff together. Um, but anyway, I noticed a trend with the games you've ran. Obviously, indie, a lot FPS, as you mentioned. So,
Mhm.
how did that kind of? Why did that like genre stick with you?
I don't know. It was something about the way that like you move and the way that movement happens in first person. When it came to those games, it was really enjoyable. It felt like I had the most control over myself and my characters, and it felt like I was really doing something like that was speedy and fast. Generally speaking, I think that's the mindset that I had going into it. Then I tried to like branch out a little bit. I didn't want to be typecast into one specific genre, and so I had like gone through Skater Gator, I had gone through Windblown, all still indies. Maybe that's like more of my brand nowadays, just indie games. Even then, not that much because I'm branching out into like other non-indie stuff, and so it's mostly like variety nowadays. But generally speaking, indie is still the core of what I do, and so I'm definitely proud to be representing indie communities at events, and also just amazing runs because it's hard, and it's hard sometimes because like I want to submit to things, and I want there to be like something that people really enjoy, and it's always hard to find like the perfect run that you want to like really sink your teeth into. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of runs, obviously a lot of runs that people really like, a lot of runs that people will think is entertaining, um, but the other factor you have to keep in mind is just like, do you enjoy running it? Do you enjoy personally running it? You could learn a run that people might like to watch, but maybe you hate to do. And so trying to find a run that like the audience loves watching, but also that you love doing is a much harder overlap than just finding something that is entertaining.
Mhm. Yeah, I've never really thought about trying to, you know, balance that out. I guess it's easier when
Yeah.
you're a Mario runner, but
Yeah, that's fair. For Mario runs, everyone wants to see it. Um, For me specifically, especially for a lot of indie game runners, and it's also different depending on like the exact goals that you want when it comes to speedrunning. A lot of people speedrun for leaderboards, and so like maybe having an entertaining run doesn't really matter to them as long as they love doing it and as long as they enjoy grinding it. Then they'll keep grinding it. They'll do it
Hmm.
over and over again, right? But if you're me, you want to speedrun for fun, but you also want to be able to speedrun it for showing it off at events, because part of the aspect of that you like speedrunning is showing it off places, and performing, and so that's something very specific to keep in mind when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I think that the different mindset between different runners and the reasons why they speedrun will definitely uh like feel a little different, than compare a person who speedruns to perform or speedruns to do marathons versus like a person who speedruns just for like grinding or for themselves. Either way I think is valid. But and not to say that like people who perform or do marathon runs aren't doing it for themselves, because obviously they are, because they enjoy doing it.
Hmm.
But generally speaking, that's kind of like the two mindsets that I see, and stuff like that will really impact what the kind of games you speedrun.
Hmm. Yeah, again, as we were saying earlier, there's no like wrong way to speed run, um, unless I don't know, it's for clout. But I mean, as long as you're nice about it, honestly, who cares?
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
there really is no wrong way. Well, you know what? There's a wrong way, and it's if it like negatively impacts your mental state. So
Oh, definitely. You
there,
need to be
there,
able to
I
take care of
found one.
yourself.
Don't do that.
Exactly. Exactly. But a lot of people like they're always just like they're trying to find like faults, I guess, in the reasons why people speedrun.
Mm,
Because some people have those opinions,
mhm,
where it's just like, you got to be able to speedrun for yourself. You got to make sure that it's enjoyable, or you got to make sure that which is true. Don't get me
mhm,
wrong. Or you got to make sure that you're speedrunning for this reason. A lot of things that I've seen is like sometimes people will there's a huge emphasis on like, oh, you don't have to worry about the leaderboards or the competition. You can just speedrun for yourself. You can do that,
mhm,
and that's fine. I think that's good. I think that should be encouraged. I think that's like a thing. That's like a mindset that should be you know spread around, because it helps for healthy grinding and help for healthy mindset when it comes to your relationship with speedruns.
mhm.
But some people truly do speedrun because they want a world record,
Yeah.
and those two those two mindsets are in conflict with each other.
Mhm,
But I think that they're perfectly fine, both mindsets to have. If someone wants to speedrun purely because they just want a world record in something, then like, yeah, that is fine. Who am I to stop you from doing that? But some people might look like bad upon that, because they're just like, oh, they're just doing it for the competition, not doing it like for the love of the game. And I'm just like, who cares? If they don't want to do it for the love of the game, if they want to do it for the love of the competition, then have them do it for the love of the competition.
mhm,
And other people do it for the love of the game. And yeah, I get it. It's very nuanced. There's a lot of different conflicting opinions, and there's a lot of different things that might conflict with each other. But generally speaking, I think that it's like, you know, any reason to speedrun is a valid reason to speedrun. I don't think
mhm.
we gotta, limit ourselves to, only speedrunning because of yourself or because of a leaderboard or because of an event or something like that. Because and even myself, I speedrun because if don't get me wrong, I like performing, but if I didn't like actually speedrunning and like playing in the game, then I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably
Mhm,
just like stick to organizing or something like that and realize, what, I'm just a behind the scenes person. But I like speedrunning, and I like being on that stage, being performed. And so, a lot of the motivation that I have to learn a game is motivated by the fact that like I like performing, and I like going on stage, and I like doing runs, and I like being in events. And you know it's the same way that like someone's motivation for speedrunning a game is just because they want a world record,
mhm.
and I think that that's fine. I think that any reason to speedrun is fine. I don't think that we need to be particularly gatekeepy about about why someone should or should not be speedrunning something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm someone who like has a mix of both, so I can speak kind of from both fronts. Um, and obviously, like, there's some mental hurdles in there, like depending on how you approach it. I've definitely
Yeah,
been in some negative ruts with my own psyche, but at the end of the day, I'm still here and I'm still doing it. So
exactly, exactly.
uh, maybe not as often as I should be, but I'd like to. But that's a
No, I
different
get you.
story. It's not speedrunning related. Speedrunning is cool and fun and good. I like it. Anyway,
As do I.
yeah, it's pretty fun. Um, anyway, to go to back to kind of like the volunteering side of things. So said you started with No Glitches Allowed, that event specifically.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes, it did.
I was gonna ask kind of, so what is that event for people who might not know, and then how did you like, I don't know, moving up the chain is the word, but I mean you said you kind of like organize it now, so clearly
Yeah,
some motions happen.
yeah. Some motions happen. No Gets Allowed is a marathon that is all about glitchless and no major glitches, speed runs, or runs that just naturally have little to no glitches in them. Um, if anyone watches GDQ Hotfix, the scenic route, my I host a show that is called the scenic route and has that exact theme, very clearly inspired off of the work we do over there at No Glitches Allowed. But No Glitches Allowed is a personal project, core organized by my friend Willow, where they and I are the primary organizers. And that event has been around since like 2017, 2018 at this point. But the original founders and organizers of it, none of them are like around the scene anymore. They kind of moved on to different things in their life, and so the reins at some point were held to me, and then this most recent event, No Good July 2026, coming up will be the first event where Willow is a co-org with me. But with that being said, the volunteering progression just led to me like progressively getting more and more experience in different roles. And of course nowadays I realize what roles are for me, what roles aren't. But most of the days, most of the time with the work that we do at No Kush Lab, I kind of just stick to organizing and seeing and managing and overseeing as many things as possible, making sure that stuff is running smoothly, and kind of like also delegating work to other departments as well, and people who have specific skills in certain areas that will help us put on a good show. But yeah, our next event is May 27th through 31st. It's Wednesday through Sunday. And we're going to be raising money for Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. It is a local pet shelter in Herndon, Virginia, that does amazing work. It's a no-kill shelter, but raising money to you be able to take care of their dogs and make sure to find them good homes. And so you can also like donate food directly to them, donate dog food, donate can drives and stuff like that for their local community, which they also do, which is really really nice. But that's their main goal, being able to find homes for dogs who need them. And it's a really really great work that we do over there. A lot of amazing folks participated or submitted runs and volunteered. And so if you want to check that out for those watching, 27th through 31st of May. But when it comes to like my going up the chain kind of thing, it it kind of just happened. Like one day I was like offered the organizer role and I immediately took it. And then I brought back Complete-a-thon, which is like one of the main things I wanted to do because Complete-a-thon was an absolutely amazing event that I had like a huge hiatus. And so that's and also that experience just kind of led me to helping out with a bunch of other events. Multithon is something that I've worked on before. I'm not with them anymore only because I can only handle so much um, projects at the same time. The Latin community, Latin and Spanish and speedrunning are really great. And of course, Complete-a-thon, No Glitch Allowed, being my babies that they are. They're absolutely amazing, and just having that experience really brought out a lot when it comes to organizing mutual aid events as well, or even being in the job that I am in now with Games Done Quick, and having more comfort with myself as a person, as a performer, as an organizer. It's been nothing but a blessing, I would say.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't think I've checked out. There's so many events. But and usually I don't run glitchless. I say as I had the Mario 1 glitchless record, but that's like who cares? uh, Even though it's a hard run. I know you've showcased it fairly recently on Hotfix, so um,
Yeah, with Nipsky running,
yeah,
with running glitchless, which was an amazing run, and he was really excited to do it, which was great.
yes, yes, I have many an experience with that speed run. Um, Still second place. It's pretty good. Uh, but yeah, I've never submitted. My point is, I've never like submitted a glitchless thing, so I haven't.
No, I
Um,
totally get you. It is what it is.
but yeah, I mean, again, it's cool that there's so many events, like not just the one big name. There's so many other like fairly like professional organizations, side project things, and that
Mhm.
have their own themes and stuff. Like again, glitchless specifically, multi-thon is like multiplayer specific. You got all these kinds of things, and so
No, I totally get it. And it's a lot of events that happen these days. And so it's good to see all the different variety out there and seeing all the different people that like want to put on events and want to donate to good causes in the world. And I think that's really important to have, and how dedicated this community is. It's weird. It's become like this like pseudo faux industry kind of thing where it's just like we're all putting on events where everyone, it feels like an event happens like every weekend at this point. And combining that with the big people in speedrunning like Games Done Quick that's been around here since 2011, or 2010. It's been a lot, and I think the event scene is very saturated with a lot of events right now, which you could argue is a good thing, is a bad thing. I'm not here to like discuss the
mhm,
nuances of that. But one thing that I can say towards it is that it's just really good to see like how that has grown, um, and how much fun people are having, and just how many different ideas are being brought to the table. I think that there is a lot of not so great ones, but also a lot of great ones that have been going here. And I think that seeing how events have kind of progressed throughout the years is really nice. And seeing all the different communities, how passionate they are, how like in tune they are with each other, it's absolutely amazing, I would say. And
yeah,
it's wild because I feel like I see all these events, but ironically, and even though I feel like I'm more involved now than I ever have been in the speedrunning community, and yet I only submit to like two events consistently, and one of them is of course GDQ. I don't even submit to my own event consistently, which is of course, granted, it's harder when you have like themes and have specific things. I
mhm,
was like, oh well, I have a runs, but I don't have a runs to fit this theme. That's whatever, right?
yeah,
But there are a lot of events that I've been trying to submit to in recent times, just to get a bit more variety. Go back to when I would, run stuff for just run, not have to volunteer and not to be part of staff or anything like that. Just run for the sake of running and have a good and raise money for a good cause and be part of a good event. It's been a while since I've just done that. I think the only events that I submit to as runners now is of course GDQs, which even then doesn't really count because I'm staff for them and I
mhm,
volunteer for them. I do work for them. I do so much more than running, but I still run. And then there's Power Up with Pride, who also has submissions open right now. The Power Up with Pride, no joke, the only marathon that isn't GDQ that I consistently submit to as a runner. And they're great over there, for
mhm.
real.
Yeah, just so many to choose from. And again,
Oh, definitely.
they all always, well, as far as I know, always find their runs to fill up their schedules. They raise money
Yeah.
for tons of different good charities. Like It's so cool just how much there is to consume. And like again, it doesn't always have to be, but usually it's for some sort of worthwhile cause too. Just
No, I totally get it. Yeah,
mhm,
it's rare nowadays that you see, some events that are on for just for the sake of being on. I know that Speeds for Charity is doing a new one right now that's just for AAPI Heritage Month, not doing any sort of um, charity or anything like that. And
mhm,
of course, there are some events that do showcases throughout the year as well. And believe it or not, in the Hispanic speedrunning community, Spanish speaking world of speedrunning, um, events that are not for charity are significantly more common.
mhm,
Significantly more common. In-person events that aren't for charity are significantly more common. People will go and do these events and not have any charity attached to them. They'll go to other people's houses and they'll host in-person events at venues and just not have any charity for them, purely for the love of the game, which I think is great. I think that it's worthwhile, and I think that it's worth having an event or two a year where people can gather around and not have to worry about raising as much money for charity as possible.
mhm.
Not that that's necessarily a bad problem to have, but it does um, add a layer of a little bit of stress that some people might want to break from when it comes to some events. And so I think that those events are definitely worth having.
Yeah, I mean, both have their merit for sure, and both are have like different rule sets involved, I guess. With I
Mhm.
know, yeah, again, like
Unless you're really, really long with in which case you do whatever you want. We don't care.
yeah, shout outs to
I
them.
was shout out to them. I going on a bit of a rant, and gonna say that like I respect the folks over at Really Really Long so much,
Mhm.
and it's wild that they do what they do over there, because I feel like if you tried to pitch the idea of Really Really Long to anyone today, they'd be like, no, that's not
Yeah.
feasible. We can't be doing that. And then Really Really Long has just done it since like 2018 at this point, and they just do it consistently, and I respect them. And because like Zell six like Zell 8 years ago came up with an idea that by all merits should not work in any way, shape, or form, and yet it does. And we have this goes good into like another point that I want to make. We as a community, because the event space is so saturated now, we have come up with, in this like speedrunning culture, that we have expectations and like social and professional expectations that people should have for speedrunning events
Mhm.
and for how a speedrunning event should happen. What is like the ways that people should go about certain um, processes, and how to make it a good experience for everyone involved. Since we have events all the time, people obviously have expectations now, and all of those expectations go out the window when you're talking about really really long time. We can really really long time can do whatever they want. None of us will care. They are just gonna do what they do best, and we'll love them regardless.
Yeah. And again, that goes back to just how many different events exist and they all are like ran their own ways. Um, and you can do it for whatever, just for fun, for charity. And again, the having it for those different ways have their uniquenesses to them because again, like no stress involved, don't have to have like any strict rule sets or anything. It can just be a
Mhm.
gathering. Um, I don't
Exactly.
know. And yeah, with just a full month of just the longest shit ever, just for the hell of it. And then they can also like turn around and here's icebreakers, right? And it's like a more traditional thing, and it's perfect. Like I don't know, it's crazy. There's so much there.
No, yeah, I totally get you. It's a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I used to be someone because way back when it's like I'll never get into GDQ. I got to do the small events. So I do a lot of small events when I was first starting out. But ever since I got more involved with like getting into GDQs and stuff, I've kind of put those on
Hmm.
the back burner. But this year I've been making more of a conscious effort to actually throw submissions into a bunch of more smaller things. So because they have their merit, they're cool, and I kind of miss them as well. Um, So, yep,
Yeah, I think that they have their merit and they're really cool and having all these smaller events. Some may argue that there's too many events happening in the speedrunning scene, which like
maybe.
we could that's a whole other conversation we can have. But generally speaking, I do think that one good thing that's been coming out of how saturated this event space has been when it comes to events is just how many people really get into the sport of
Mhm,
speedrunning, or to the art of speedrunning, however you want to describe it. It does do wonders, and seeing the good that's in this community really shines a light on how positive it is.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, you can go to Owingus. I think I'm saying it right. It's like it's just
Angus,
yeah, whatever. There's
it's
like
Swedish. It's
20,
Swedish.
20 marathons to submit to, 5 currently going on. I'm just spouting numbers, but it's like, I mean, it is a nice site. You can just choose what you're interested in, submit to it. Like, at least it's all, for the most part, has a centralized area, and then like different languages, different locations, in person, online. A lot of it's there. Obviously, GDQ has its own version of it because they're, you
Yeah,
know,
they're
that's
much
that's a
bigger.
whole different thing. But like, oh man, like even though it's so saturated, like I don't see it as a negative thing because it's just so many chances to showcase that so many different people have an opportunity, um so many different charities to help out. Like I don't know, it I remember way back when I was first starting out there's only a few, um and now just you can always be entertained.
Exactly, you really always can be. Whether it's through events or just through everyone speedrunning all the time on Twitch. There's always something for everyone, which is a really good thing.
Mhm. So yeah, shout out to all the speedrun events. Keep on keeping on. Anyway, I'll go more into the GDQ specific now because I
Mhm.
know we touched on Hotfix show, and I don't think we dove into exactly what kind of like work you've done for them specifically. So how did that all start?
How it all started was that I had applied 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, for being a hotfix showrunner because they do open applications for those.
Mhm.
And no joke, I applied 3 separate times or 4 separate times, and then they rejected me each time. And then the fifth time is when it happened. Um, I am so sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm getting an interruption.
Oh,
I
okay,
apologize.
it's fine.
Okay.
We will be back after these short messages. Um, Actually, good. Let me pause this.
All right,
And
let's
we're
see here.
back. All right.
We're back.
We're back.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So yeah, when it came to that show, I had applied like no joke, like 4 or 5 times. And then like the fifth time is when I had officially like been accepted. And it's wild because I think I had been called back before, but they called me back for a different idea. They called me back for an indie game show idea.
Mm,
And then the time that they accepted me, they called me back for the glitchless show idea, which definitely has more range, don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But it was just wild to see the ups and downs of all of that. And honestly, I had really hoped um, to have gotten it sooner, obviously, but I'm glad that I didn't, kept
Didn't give up.
kept it going. Didn't give up. I didn't, um, stop going for it. Honestly, I had no intention of like stopping going for it even time, even if I had gotten rejected again.
That's the
But
spirit.
it was very nice. But we're on episode 13 now. Episode 13 just aired last night. It was so much fun.
There's only 13
And
episodes. I feel like it's been on for a while. I guess.
it's been on since September, but it's only
Wow.
every other week, and so
Well, for me, for some reason, I thought it was like there for a couple years or something. So clearly, I'm wrong.
no, no, no,
All
no. This is very new,
right.
relatively speaking. But it's been a lot of fun, and I enjoy it. I also do some work for them on the side of tabling. You might have seen at in-person events there's tables representing different communities. I
Mm,
help manage one that is for the Latin community here at GDQ and the events that they've done. for Latin and Hispanic speedrunning, which is a community that I'm one of the managers of, and a lot of fun has really been had for it. It's been so much fun. Really, it has been.
Mhm. Yeah, I should go into more detail about that. Like, what events and work have they put on specifically?
Yeah, and so there's like there's these communities that in recently Blackheart Wings had put on the block party of showing on different communities in the speedrunning space, marginalized communities, and with stuff like Back to Black and Fatales, this is just another one of those communities that is up and rising when it comes to stuff. And so the Latin community does, we're planning a raid train for later this year. We have done archipelagos in the past as community. We have a GDQ hotfix special that we've done for a few years now. It's traded hands, but generally speaking, it's been on for quite some time, and so being able to see that happen later again this year is a really good job. And so I'm super excited to see how that turns out. And Black Art Wings is amazing, and she's done a lot of really good stuff for both the AAPI and of course the Latin events as well. It's been a lot of fun. So seeing her rise, it does definitely give hope as well that these events are going to be well done for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed, especially the past couple years, there's been so many more like sub communities of GDQ, I guess is the best way to put it. Like that one, Back to Black. The Fatale's been around a while, but I know like kind of or I don't know exactly what the community is called, but the community that does the Back to Black, because that's the name of the event. Um
Black in a Flash.
yes. They were doing like hotfix showcases that were essentially that for a while, and then it got upgraded to more of like a main line kind of thing. I think Fatales kind
Mhm.
of started that way too, but they've been around for a long time doing
Oh yeah, but
quote
they did
unquote main
though.
stuff. Yeah.
It used to be just like hotfix, and then it like grew into its own thing,
Hmm.
which is the direction that we're hoping to go for in the future.
Hmm.
Um,
Because I've just been
and
seeing
so
that a
that's
lot
fun.
more. I don't remember if GD queer is a like subgenre thing that kind of grew into its own thing, but
Oh no,
I know
it
that
started
popped
off
up.
as its own. It started off as its own thing, really.
Okay.
GD Career was great.
Hmm.
And started off as a charity event. Thankfully, it kind of got a head start on
Hmm.
the growth when it comes to that community.
Fair. But yeah, like you look at like 2023, right? And like the main events were just like the GDQs, the GDQX, and the Fatales. And then you look at 2025, and you had those Back to Black, the GD Queer. They just there's so much more of like the more like
Yeah, exactly.
sub genres
Even
of GDQ. I guess I don't know. It's
even
interesting.
I feel like as of recent, the PAX events have kind of
Hmm.
been growing in popularity, compared to how they were like 2 years ago. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't know what is the definition between a hotfix showcase event and a like GDQ marathon. It's kind of a weird.
Trust me, sometimes we don't know
Yeah,
either.
okay, that's
Sometimes we don't know
fair.
either.
Like sometimes it's hard to tell. Like PAX is a good example of that. Like it's not a charity, so like, but it's not really a hotfix show. It's in person. I don't know. Anyway, yes.
Yeah.
I have personal experience, obviously, without the PAX now. I'm leaving in 2 days. Woohoo! But um,
Yes. Congrats on that.
thank you. Yeah. I mean, I've been dipping my toes more into the like. Again, these aren't really the subgenres I was more talking about because these are more like again open for everyone. They're just like at different times in different locations. But I don't know. I'm just seeing a lot more of like these, not AGDQ or SGDQ, GDQ events pop up,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
so I don't know.
Which is
I
good.
yes, it's really cool. I mean, just again more GDQ content, a
We're
better.
doing Halo Fest this year. That got announced.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Wow,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. It's
just
gonna be
so
exciting to
much.
see what else is in store.
Yeah, I mean, because I've actually been working on a personal project, um, where I was trying to like archive every GDQ thing ever,
Hmm.
which is a little hard. Uh, Obviously not hotfix, just because oh my god, but It's just
Oh,
something
I
I
can do that for
noticed.
you.
Yeah.
We got archives. We got archives. Don't worry.
Do you? All right.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you what I've been working on. I posted a little bit about it, but just while I've been going through everything, it's just something I've noticed is how many more events there are, and
Oh, 100%.
and
Definitely.
it's a more recent change. Especially like the
Oh,
hotfix
100%.
shows upgrading to like more of a mainstay thing, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just it's cool to see more varied content, even just on GDQ. Like obviously we've been talking about all the other events you can go watch as well that exist, but even now on just
Yeah.
GDQ you have like its own like sub community line of marathons.
No, definitely. And it all started like around 2019 because 2019 was when like hotfix first came to be.
Hmm.
And I think that that was definitely the gateway for a lot of other pieces of content um, to like grow, which is wild because, you know, as you can see, a lot of the stuff that a lot of people like now, like Flame Fatale or Flame Fatales, like Back to Black, and like you know, a lot of stuff in mainline has been influenced by stuff that's happened on Hotfix and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it's, you know, it's wild to see how like the general public really interacts with it because as we know, like hotfix is the aspect of GDQ that has like, you know, the least amount of viewership compared to you know, Frame Fatales or compared to Back to Black,
Hmm.
even, or compared to of course mainline GDQs, even though it's the thing that kind of, you know, was the base for a lot of stuff that we see on the channel nowadays.
Yeah, you always need like a kind of I don't want to say testing ground, but it kind of is, right? Like you can show it there first to see what people's perception and response to it is, and then see if it's like good
Exactly.
for a mainline thing. And again, with the hotfix, obviously, GDQ needs money to put on events, so that's always nice. But there's also just
Mhm.
all year long, you have a chance to like you can be showcased on that too. Like
Yeah,
again, it's just
exactly. That's
more things to be showcased on.
100%. That's the good thing about some smaller events. You know, you don't need as much money.
Yeah, also true. So that's why they can exist and do cool things too. Because also, and I speak from experience, you don't have to invest a lot to do an event either. I made a little weekend event, like a total of 24 hours, I think. I did everything. I made the layouts, I restreamed it, I made the schedule for it. I put out the, marketing. I did literally all of the work for it, and with no money. Um, and I might never do it again, but it was a fun experience to at least know how the process works. And I don't know if I can do that with nothing. Like almost anyone, I think could do an event. It just depends on like the quality you want out of it. Um,
Definitely, I'm a similar believer, and so I definitely agree with that mindset.
mhm.
If you want to, on anyone who's watching on the GDQ Twitch channel, if you go down to AGDQ 2024 panels in the playlists, you'll see that I hosted a panel with some folks about like how to organize a marathon online, you know, for free yourself. And so if you want a 2 hour long video that kind of goes into the different um, like the different types of aspects of marathon organizing and everything that you'll need, you can definitely go there.
Mhm. Yep, and I should hope you and them would know what you guys are talking about, so I can I can vouch for it.
I hope so too. Don't get me wrong.
Definitely done some work in those fields. But yeah, man, what else to talk about?
I'm not
These have
sure.
been
I
some
mean, I
in-depth discussions about.
it really has been. It's been. Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Um, I hope that, you know, Pack. I'm really sad that I don't get to go to PAX this year.
Oh yeah,
But I
did you do a run last time?
Yes, it was
Okay.
Jazz Punk that I did last time, which was
Okay.
fun.
Yeah.
And I am hoping to get into more side events later this year. Um, of course, I applied to work some stuff like Halo Fest, some stuff like GDQX and PAX West, and some more stuff that will be announced soon that I can't say,
Mm.
but you'll hear about it. Uh,
Yes, you're just everywhere now. So there you go.
I try. I try. I've been. It's weird. I try to put my hand in as much as I can, but also try to like balance it so I'm not burning out nowadays as much as I used to. But it's
Yeah,
still fun. It's a lot of fun.
I have to imagine that can be a little difficult because I already struggle with burnout and I don't do any of like the hard work that comes with any of that kind of thing. So I am kind of curious how you manage that. And
The answer is that I don't.
oh, okay, great.
And I wish that I was kidding. It's been
Mm,
an issue. It's been an issue for me personally. Admittedly, dealing with burnout, dealing with like how that affects not only me but other people as
mhm,
of recent. And so because of that, I have been recently, um, very recently, relatively speaking, been taking a much more conceited effort to not overwork myself, to delegate stuff better, and to not put my hands in too many pots, as they say, or
mhm.
not, you know, not overload myself with a billion projects at the same time. Because I'm also a college student, so it's a
Oh
lot.
wow, I didn't even know that one. Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to do with.
Yeah. Good God. I don't know how, but good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Goodness. Well, we didn't talk much about games, like
Oh yeah, the whole thing though.
the whole
This
thing.
whole community, the whole community revolves around. Yeah. Um, when it comes to games, it's my relationship has kind of evolved with it over the years. Specifically when it comes to speedrunning. I focus on first person puzzle platformers because those were like really, really, really good. Light Matter, Superliminal, Antichamber, Viewfinder, Liminal Ranger, all that jazz. Like most of my speedrunning repertoire is still that. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
But recently, I have kind of just been branching out. Skater Gator 3D was the first thing that I ran at a GDQ event that wasn't a first person puzzle platformer. Um, and I do enjoy that they gave me that because I feel like it gave me permission to like go out and try different genres of stuff, um, and it's weird because I feel like nowadays I'm just like, well, let me go back to the niche that I was at before. I'm enjoying. I miss it a little bit, which is fine. People change their minds. They fluctuate back and forth.
Mhm.
But I can definitely think that right now, I am a very variety type speedrunner compared to what I was a year ago or even 2 years ago. Because I used to have that mindset of just like I need to be the guy that shows off this like specific genre of games, and so I would only look for stuff that's like first person puzzle platforming kind of thing. And then I realized I was just like, you know what, I don't think this is gonna work. Let me branch out to other stuff. Maybe there's gonna be stuff that I enjoy, and thankfully there was. Um, and so I enjoy that a lot. And then this upcoming SGDQ, I'm submitting a variety of things.
Mhm.
Um, Don't Stop Girly Pop is one of them, which I think is going to be like the main ticket that I really love.
I know that's
Um,
a like very recent kind of popping off thing. I know like a hotfix like was entirely revolved around that. I know nothing
yeah,
about
it
it, but
was
I
really
keep
good.
hearing the name.
It's really good. It's like a first person shooter, which is good. And then of course there's a Corky's Cozy Hike, which I submitted last event, but they took a different run for me instead. Um, and I'm also trying to do this weird submission with hypnotics that involves a lot of pens. You might have seen on my
Oh.
blue sky at some point, the picture of 2,000 pens. There's a whole there's a lot to go on there, so we'll
Mm.
see how that leads. But other than that, I'm just excited to see how. This year turns out because I there's a lot of stuff that I want to get into speedrunning wise. I want maybe not SGDQ 2026, but I want AGDQ 2027 to be like my strongest batch of submissions ever, and be like, like something that I'm incredibly confident in. And I'm gonna be confident in the stuff that I submit to SGDQ. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always searching for something. I'm always looking for more things.
Hmm. Are all the games you, well, obviously not Luigi's Mansion 3, but are all the games you've played after that all like you've submitted them, or
No, not necessarily.
no?
Actually, well, I guess not even that's a lie. Let me look at my Speedrunner.com page and see what I like. No, actually,
Yeah,
no. I on For some reason on Chrome, Speedrunner.com does not like to work
because
properly.
Spinner.com
Let me
doesn't really
see.
like to work in general.
This is
But
fair. Let me look at my
um,
profile here.
because I know you mentioned like a lot of the like the games you run are to like show it off somewhere, but
Mhm.
is that all of them?
Uh,
Like, or are there
let me
games you really
see.
are just like there to for the love of the game?
I'm trying to see if there's a game that I've like never submitted to an event that's on my Speedrunner.com page before.
Mm.
Let's see. I know Rubber Bandits, which I've never done.
Hmm.
I want to say VVVVB because
Oh,
I know
yeah.
that speedrun and I've only done it like once on a hotfix, but like I don't really like submit it to anywhere else because it's just like I'm not a top runner in that game.
I love that game.
Um,
Casually.
it's a it's a good game and I've grinded it a bit, but it was up and down.
Fair.
Crow Story I've shown off at smaller events, but not at a GDQ before. I think I might have submitted it once, but unsure. Um, I got into a speed run of a rhythm game one
Mm.
time called Melatonin because the person that
Oh,
I was dating at the time um, was speedrunning it too. So
I've heard of that one.
um,
Yeah,
yeah, but I've never submitted it to anything.
fair.
It's a good run though.
Well, definitely variety.
Yeah,
That's for
definitely
sure.
variety. That's kind of like the main goal that I have nowadays when it comes
Hmm.
to the stuff that I run. I want to do a variety. I want to do something like that. I don't want to, be saturated or tied down to like one specific genre or one specific game, which is what I think I enjoy the most.
Yeah, and again, nothing wrong with that. I'm obviously kind of more stuck on one or two games myself, but and feel like I
Which
can
I think is
branch out,
fine.
but
Here's the thing. There's which I think is fine. There's a lot of stuff that like people like about
Mhm.
those popular games. People like to focus on one or two games, which I think is really really good. I think having a lot of passion, I think it's just a different way of looking at it.
Yeah.
You know, uh, jack of all trades, master of none, or just master of one. However people want to approach it. Um, and honestly, I think that that's a really good way of going about it as well.
Mhm.
And sometimes I wish that I was just like focusing on one thing, but I am kind of glad that I, took the variety route. I think it's better. I always like to say that the two kind of people that always get into sprint running events are people who learn different games all the time and therefore always have something new, or people who know the same three or four games and then just rotate on submitting it over and over again.
Mhm.
Um,
And they're like really good at it. Like you have your variety,
exactly,
and then you're like they're they have the record or close to it.
yeah, exactly. The main example that I use for that second one is Tonkatsu.
Oh yeah.
If you look at his like GDQ runs within the past like 10 years, it's only like the same few games,
Yeah.
but he just is really good at them. And by the time that like he submits a game that he's ran before, it's been enough time to where like you can like justify accepting it again.
Plus, there's so
And
many
so
categories and stuff too. Like, yeah,
exactly,
there's always a way for it to
exactly.
be unique.
And so
Well,
so that's just
I
a
think he did a
Tonkatsu.
run that like technically wasn't even a category
Yeah,
or something,
which I
like
think
or like
more I
added
think more
a
people should do.
restriction to the run or something.
Yeah, which I think more people should do. I think
Yeah,
more people
true.
should do runs that like I know that speedrunning committees and games committees for events, they care about leaderboards a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going
Mm,
to say that no one cares about leaderboards. They do care about it a little bit. Obviously, they want the person who is running to be like, you know,
competent.
pretty skilled at what they're doing, competent at what they're doing, right? And so because of that, they might look at leaderboards like a healthy amount, right? But there's also been like times where like I've submitted a run to a GDQ that got in that isn't a real category. That is just like it's a category that I made up. If I'm being honest, I'm doing that for Don't Stop Girly Pop because the normal any percent route is like not really marathon safe. And but I don't want to do glitchless either. And so I'm like kind of creating my own like restricted route where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna take all the aspects of any percent that are good and I'm going to just put them into the run. Um, and so I think people should do that more often. Literally on my show last night, Classic Admin, who ran Symphony of the Night, he ran a category that doesn't exist. He ran a category that he just thinks is fun, and just doesn't really, but doesn't exist, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's just another way to just get more content out of the same game. So it's not just the same thing every time. There's always something new, a reason for it to be there again, a reason to watch.
Mhm.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, which is cool.
Exactly.
And then what you were saying a little bit there is like the leaderboard doesn't matter. Yeah, you don't have to be the best at your game to be showcased either. Great example that we were both in, obviously the Mario relay. Um,
Mhm.
most people there sucked shit in comparison to the top level runners, and that run was sick.
Me especially.
Yeah. Well, I'm not calling anyone out here.
Hmm.
I'm actually pretty familiar with the run, and my star didn't exactly go blazing fast, but I didn't die, so I popped off for that. But
Hmm.
but it's just a good
I popped
example.
off for just having finished the
Hey,
segment, which is
in
nice.
all fairness, you got like a hard ass star. That shit
And
is
I said,
brutal.
give me something difficult, which is nice.
Yeah.
So,
So, but it's just again, it's a great example, that one specifically, of like, yeah, you don't have to be the best speedrunner of the game to get in either. Like anyone can truly like submit and have a chance. And I think that's
no,
an
definitely,
important thing to remember.
100%. I agree wholeheartedly.
So keep on trying. Keep on submit. I know people that have submitted like 15 times and haven't gotten in. Just keep on going. Uh,
Yeah, please do. And I get it. I have talked to people about like submitting to events because they're just like, oh, I always like get rejected, and I say keep submitting,
yeah.
especially and ask for feedback when it's offered.
Mm-hmm.
But I also get it because like I'm talking of a bit of a place of like privilege here in that I've submitted for this will be now like my fourth full year of submitting, and so um I would like get a bunch of really good runs and into events, and I've only been rejected like twice. Let's see, it's AGDQ 2022, SGDQ 2022, and then 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026. And so this is like going to be SGDQ 2026 is going to be the 10th event that I'll be submitting to. I'm only getting rejected twice. And I say that because one, it's a bit of humble brag, but two, um, I say that because I understand that when like I give people advice on stuff that when it comes to GDQ or when it comes to like submitting your runs, that I'm coming from a little bit of a place of privilege in that I have not experienced the getting rejected for years on end feeling that a lot of people have felt. Um, and to that, I say that it's still worth submitting, it's still worth doing. And I don't ever think that it's like personal to you. It's a lot of
Yeah.
people would think that's personal to them. I've seen that mindset go around. And 99 times out of 100, it is never personal to you. Um, and it's just the specific needs of the schedule that are at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that I keep in mind, that I like to keep in mind a lot, and that's something that I like to make sure that people know about. And so I recognize that maybe it may feel a little disingenuous to see that. And I also like to say people like GDQ is not the be all end all of
Hmm.
things because there's a lot of things that I think that I've done in my speedrun career that I find a lot more enjoyment and pride in than necessarily having ran at GDQs before. But I also understand that that can be a little bit disingenuous coming from someone who hasn't experienced constant rejection the way that other people have. But with that being said, I still think it's worth it. I still think it's worth putting your hat in the ring
Hmm.
with anything. Like a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm too nervous. I'm just like, do it anyway. Do it scared, and I think it'll be great. It'll be a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, like, they can only accept like a 1% of their submissions, so
Pretty much. Like
obviously, like, you should be expecting rejection
I don't,
statistically.
I don't envy the committee. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I have talked to a lot of games committee, and I did like a small run or small event. I didn't get a ton of like runs submitted to it, so I was almost able to like fill in the whole schedule with it. But
No, yeah, I get it.
I can understand it being a hard process. Although the like aspect of like putting together a complete puzzle of a event list kind of is intriguing. But with so many puzzle pieces and only like a lot of them could fit, but you can only use so many. Like, oh my god. Yeah,
Definitely.
but yeah, and then again, GDQ not the only thing. Tons of smaller events. Like, there's always your talent can be showcased somewhere. Just submit.
Exactly.
That's the
Exactly.
point. Um, well, with that said, um, I think I've covered everything now.
We've definitely delved into a lot today,
It's
and I
true,
really appreciate you having me here.
which is the point. We love to see it, but I can do my finale questions, I guess, unless there's anything we haven't delved into that you'd like to that I would
I
think to
think
ask.
that's. I think not for now, but
Yeah.
I think that it's gonna be. I'm gonna be checking the YouTube upload out, and hopefully people enjoyed this conversation.
All right. Sounds good. Then I'll do my closing questions. Just future plans for you in terms of near or far future speedrun event, just anything related.
My future plans is that I'm going to be at SGDQ, and hopefully running something, but definitely helping out with volunteering and organizing some and managing some community stuff there. Um, and I'm also going to be having no glitches allowed. 2026 this May 27th through 31st. It's Wednesday through Sunday, where we're going to be raising money for Go Rescue Pet Adoption Center. So please check that out. We're currently in the middle of making the schedule, and that should be out within like the next week or so.
What
And
channel
so
is that broadcasted on?
on twitch.tv/ no glitches allowed.
There
It's
you
going
go.
to be a lot of fun. And of course, if you want to see me, I stream once in a blue moon, admittedly. And usually when I stream, it's because I'm raising money for charity. Because it's like I put together either like a raid train or I'm helping out with the raid train, or I am like just doing some stuff like Vital's ambassadors or something similar to that, where I'm just like raising money for stuff. Um, and on really rare occasions, I will just go stream for fun. But if you want that every now and again, then go ahead, follow me there. Otherwise, my main stuff is mostly on Blue Sky because I have been posting there a lot recently.
Fair. Do you have any particular games you are interested in or have on the back burner to try running, or just maybe it's not even out yet, just something?
Um, right now, after SDQ submissions close, I'm going to play Mr. Sleepy Man.
Okay.
Maybe I know that a lot of people have been playing that right now. It's like a recent 3D collectathon platformer
I
that came
actually haven't
out. It
heard of it.
looks really good. My friend King J, who I know you
Ah,
know, um, has
the
introduced me to
guy
it.
I'm
Um,
sharing a room with in 2 days.
yeah,
Yeah.
Joey's great. Shout out to Joey's. We might be submitting that as a race for second submission period to
Mm,
SGDQ.
all
We'll
right.
see. Mouse PI for Hire is like a first person like shooter type game that
Mm.
I'm like
Fitting,
really
fitting,
looking
yeah.
forward to hitting out. And I also have been meaning. I think I'm finally gonna get into it. Um, I've been wanting to like do Celeste blindfolded, which is really good.
Oh, okay.
Um, and but I think the thing that I've been like looking forward to the most is finally having the time to do Portal 2.
Ooh, okay.
Because no, but it's not like standard Portal 2. A lot of
Mhm.
people mostly focus on like Portal 2 any percent or inbound to SLA. I am specifically looking at the Portal 2 um speedrunning mod that is made from the community that cuts out all of the cutscenes, it cuts out all the waiting times, it cuts out stuff like that. And but I'm not going to do a regular speedrun of it. There's a specific mode that they have called Celeste mode.
Oh.
And it's literally like it's a first person experience, but you move as if you were Madeline and Celeste. Like you have a dash, you have like a grab, you have you can wave dash, and your portal you can shoot a portal, but it also acts as a dash. Like when you get like the single portal gun that only shoots the blue portal, you get your dash. And then when you get the dual portal gun that shoots both the orange and blue portal, you get double dash, which is really cool.
Huh.
And also they have hidden berries all over the place, like
Hmm.
red berries and gold berries, that I think I just want to learn and I want to do because it looks like a really cool speed run, and it eliminates some of the stuff that I don't like about Portal 2 speedrunning, primarily bunny hopping. You don't have to bunny
Mm.
hop as much. You still
Yeah.
have to bunny hop. Don't get me wrong. You don't have to bunny hop as much,
Yeah.
um, because I refuse with my I refuse with my like whole soul and being to get good at bunny hopping. Um, yeah, but that's what I'm looking forward to as of right now. What I have going on.
All right. That's cool. So, sorry, the Portal 2 thing, is it so it's a like a mod of the
Yeah,
game? Okay.
it started as the speedrun mod, which was purely to just cut down waiting times and
Yeah.
cutscenes and
I
just
think I've
like give
seen that.
yeah just give like people a resource to where they can like grind the game more without having to wait for a bunch of cutscenes. Like
Mhm.
that's and I think that's really really good.
Yeah.
But then people started adding a bunch of features to it,
Okay.
and
So these
Celeste
are
mode is one of them.
yeah, that's what I was asking like, and this is in addition to the speedrun mod just for shits and giggles, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
and it has like speedrun categories on because the
Oh, okay.
speedrun mod has like its own
Yeah,
board.
I knew
It
about
separates
that,
the
but I didn't know
yeah,
about
but
all the extra stuff.
yeah, in the miscellaneous tabs, or maybe it's in
Mm.
a category extension. I don't know. There's the Celeste mode.
Huh.
Apparently, there's also a Super Mario Odyssey mode
What the?
in
Okay.
uh, in development, which
I
is
gotta look
just
this up. What
you
the?
play Portal 2, but with the movement of Mario from SML.
What the? Fascinating.
It's gonna be fun to see. It really will.
I've seen Airboat Percent.
Airboat Percent was fun, and I'm glad that M Sushi submitted Snoopy to this.
Oh,
I, yeah, it's
silly block.
gonna be fun.
I
It's gonna be
can't
really
wait
fun.
for you. I actually have a submission for silly block this time.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, I don't know how it'll do. I'm not expecting much, but I'm gonna do it because I think it'd be funny and it's silly block. So
Oh, and there's this game coming out later this year that I want to try and speedrunning. It's called Fish. That's it.
it's just fish.
That's
All
the
right,
whole game. It's Fish,
cool.
and it's a terrible game, but like a purposefully terrible game. It's really good.
Awful block moment. There we go.
Exactly,
We'd love to see
exactly.
it. All right. Well, I think that's truly everything. You've
Yeah,
self
it's been a
promoted.
good.
You've talked about everything I've asked. I think we're good.
Thank you so much for having me. It really
No,
meant the world, and I had a lot of fun.
I appreciate your time. Um, I love speed run talk, which is why I've done this 163 times, right? Something like that.
Here's to 163 more.
Oh God, I can. That'd be like late 2029. I don't even want to think about it. Dear God. But we'll see. I mean, it's been 3 years and change. 3 years and a month. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? There's a lot of speedrunners out there, and they're just keep
There is.
adding more, as we mentioned.
Yeah, more and more people coming into the scene, more and more minds to pick at.
So yeah, but that'll conclude this one. So if you're watching live, the obviously it's a few days before Sunday. It'll be up while I'm gone, but yeah, YouTube it'll be up at the regularly scheduled time. Um, and I think that's everything. So I'll just I'll end now. Bye.
Bye.
Professional streamer. All right. Bye.